All right, so as web developers, we live and breathe code, right? We build features, we squash bugs, and we ship. It's what we do. But what happens when that little side project of yours suddenly just explodes? When it gets way bigger than you ever imagined? That's when you realize that just writing good code, well, it's not going to cut it anymore. So let's get into it, because today we're talking about that next level skill that takes you from just building features to actually architecting entire platforms. We're talking about system design.
So just picture this for a second. The app that you've poured your nights and weekends into is finally a hit. I mean, users are signing up left and right, traffic is spiking through the roof, and then, bam, everything grinds to a halt. It's slow, it's crashing, and you're just sitting there scratching your head thinking, but my code is clean, it's efficient, so what gives? Well, here's the thing. It's probably not a code problem, it's a scaling problem. And that right there is where system design goes from being some abstract idea to your absolute best friend.
And this really gets to the heart of the issue, doesn't it? We're talking about that critical moment when even the absolute best code in the world can't save a broken architecture.
I mean, just think about the apps you use every single day. We expect everything to be instant, zero downtime. We want those real-time updates popping up on our screen before we even think about it. And you know what? We can't deliver that kind of magic just by writing a clever JavaScript function or adding another index to our database. That's like fine-tuning one tiny part of an engine. System design is about stepping back and looking at the entire car. It's about the whole structure.
Okay, so how do we actually solve this? How do we build things that can handle success? It all starts with a pretty fundamental shift in how we think. We have to go from thinking like a coder to thinking like an architect.
Now, let's be super clear about something. System design is not about drawing a bunch of complicated diagrams on a whiteboard just to look smart, no. Think of it as the actual engineering blueprint for your application. It's the plan that makes sure all those individual pieces you spend so much time coding, your API, your database, your front end, actually work together as one cohesive, scalable whole.
So what does this actually look like in practice? Well, you're basically taking a massive, kind of scary problem and chopping it up into smaller, manageable pieces. You figure out what each piece is supposed to do, and this is the super important part, how they're all going to communicate. For a web app, maybe that's a good old REST API, or maybe you need a message queue, something like RabbitMQ, to handle background jobs. Or hey, maybe you need WebSockets for that real-time chat feature. You're essentially building the nervous system for your app, all while juggling constraints like cost, speed, and how big this thing is going to get.
And this right here gets to the absolute core of an architect's job, navigating trade-offs. Because, and you gotta remember this, there's almost never one single perfect right answer. It's always a balancing act. For instance, do you stick with a simple monolith because it's way easier to build and maintain? Or do you go for a more powerful but way more complex microservices architecture? Do you optimize for lightning-fast responses? Or is it more important that the system never ever goes down? The whole game is about making these choices on purpose and being able to stand up and justify why you made them.
Okay, I get it. This can all sound a little abstract, a little up in the clouds. So how do you actually, do it? Well, the good news is you don't have to just wing it. There's a practical framework you can lean on, whether you're sweating in a high-pressure interview or just planning your next big project at work.
And it really boils down to just one number, 7. That's it, 7 steps. It's a clear, structured process that you can actually rely on. It takes all the guesswork out of system design and makes the whole thing feel, well, a lot less intimidating. And here it is, the 7-step roadmap. It starts with understanding the problem inside and out. Then you define what's in and what's out, the system's boundaries. You take a look at existing solutions. Then you get to the really fun part, designing that high-level architecture. After that, you dive into the nitty-gritty details. You write it all down so everyone's on the same page. And finally, and this part never stops, you continuously evaluate and improve. Now, let's just zoom in on a few of the most critical steps here.
Seriously, everything, and I mean everything, starts right here. Step 1. Before you even start daydreaming about which cool new database to use or how your API is going to be structured, you have to nail the requirements. Who's using this? How many of them are we expecting? How fast does it need to be? Trying to build a system on vague assumptions is like building a house on sand. It's just going to fall over. You have to start with a solid foundation of clarity.
Okay, so once you've got your requirements locked down, you get to step 4. This is the part everybody loves, right? The whiteboard phase. This is where you map out the big picture. What are the main services? Are we going with a SQL or a NoSQL database? How are all these different components going to talk to each other? This is where you create that high-level map that will guide all the detailed code and implementation work later on.
And finally, step 7. This is the one that reminds us that the job is never truly done. A system isn't a statue you build and then just walk away from. It's more like a garden. It's a living thing. Requirements will change, user traffic is going to grow, new technologies will pop up. The healthy systems, the ones that last, are the ones that are constantly being monitored, measured, and improved. They're maintained with intention, not by accident.
So why go through all this trouble? What's the real payoff for you as a developer? Well, believe me, it's about a whole lot more than just building stable apps. It's about building your career.
And the benefits are concrete and career-defining. You'll learn to spot performance bottlenecks before they take down your site during a huge production spike. You'll be able to walk into a meeting and confidently justify why you chose one technology over another. And let's be honest, it's a huge factor in landing those senior-level jobs. Mastering system design is a direct investment in your own growth.
And really, it all comes down to this one idea. System design is the skill that lets you zoom out from the single line of code, the single function, the single feature, and see the entire platform. It's what elevates you from being an implementer to being an architect. So keep thinking bigger.